to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and Under the Banner of Heaven. Mormons in media and Mormon land join forces to explore the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in pop culture.
Welcome to today's crossover episode. I'm Rebbie Brassfield from Mormons in Media.
And I'm Nicole Weaver from Mormon Land.
For anyone who's new to these episodes, we wanted to introduce you quickly to the format. So I am a lifelong member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I am based in Utah. Nicole is from North Carolina, and for a long time, her only exposure to members of the church was through reality TV, the most accurate way to get to know us, as we all know. Now that Nicole works for the Salt Lake Tribune and has gotten to know some actual members of the church, she has a lot of questions. So in these crossover episodes, we're going to take a piece of pop culture that centers on Latter-day Saint people or Mormonism, and Nicole will ask me all her burning questions, and then I attempt to answer them. So today we are talking about a cringy dating show out of Provo, Utah. But first, Nicole, what have you been watching in the absence of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? I feel like we were like, after last episode, we're like, we have to take a break. We have to talk about something else. So what have you been watching?
Yeah, I have to say I'm very pleased that we're probably going to go after this like a full episode without mentioning Secret Lives.
Amazing.
So very happy about that. But I've been on the Love Island train. I've wrapped that up. That is a commitment. I cannot stress enough. Last year when I watched Love Island, I just kind of watched it as is, like when I could, and it's just not as fun. Love Island is like a 6-week commitment, and what's tough about it is it comes on every single night. And it's in real time. So that's like a cool production part of it, is because what you're watching on, say, like a Wednesday was recorded like within 48 hours. So it's a really quick turnaround.
That's cool.
And it's like a Sims game, because there's an app, there's a Love Island app, and you can vote, and you can, based on your votes, like you can couple people up, you can kick people off. So it's pretty much like watching your sim characters.
That's so cool. So wait, and your votes actually affect the show?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So wrap that up, and this last week I have started a show. Are you familiar with Botched?
No.
So it's like
plastic surgery?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like, I guess this famous plastic surgeon, and they I guess it's like botched cases of bad plastic surgery.
Oh.
But there's this new show. It's from Botched. It's called like Plastic Surgery Rewind. And it's these celebrities that go to this retreat, and they work with plastic surgeons and therapists and just like spiritual leaders and stuff, and to try to figure out like, what is the need? Like, where is this coming from for this need of plastic surgery? And then at the end of it, they decide if they want to reverse it and get the surgeries done to like get the implants out, get the filler out, stuff like that.
That is so interesting.
Right? So there's, as of we're recording right now, there's like 3 episodes out. And each episode, like, new celebrities come. So in the first episode, it was like somebody from 90 Day Fiance, a mom and daughter from Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is crazy for a mom and daughter to come together, because she started getting filler at 16.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's them, and then the latest celebrity to just show up was Aubrey O'Day. She's from Danity Kane.
Oh,
with P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting, and it's crazy to see, because that they work with plastic surgeons and imaging people to kind of like show them what they would look like. And they do these, like in the 3rd episode, their challenge was to take a selfie without makeup. I'm like, terrifying. They had 5 minutes to do it, and like they were freaking out. Like, all of them were going to different areas of the room to try to get the best lighting, and it's honestly kind of sad, when you think about it, because it's I was telling my wife, like, as controversial as this might sound, I almost kind of feel like because one of them said, I can't remember which one, she spent over $100,000 on plastic surgery alone, like to fix the way to.
At some point, it's like it's pathological. Like there's something.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, at what point is it like, are we dealing with a mental illness right now? So that's been interesting.
Okay, that's so interesting, and I'm sure it's. Well, I am curious. I would love to see the list of celebrities they've reached out to who have said, no, I will not acknowledge my plastic surgery, right? Like,
well, that's the funny part is I can't remember which one it was because I don't really know any of them that well. Yeah. But when they get there, they show or they tell the group what they've had done. And it's so obvious that they've all had more done, but they're not disclosing everything. Wow. Okay. So like one of them, she's talking and she got like 3 Brazilian butt lifts. But she was like, yeah, but I don't have filler in my face. And I'm like, no, you got filler in your face.
Yeah.
It's, like, that's what you want to skimp out on.
That is so interesting. Well, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they at least reach out to someone from either Housewives of Salt Lake City or Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
We'll see.
Like the before and afters of the Secret Lives girls are crazy. It's so wild to look at that. And I feel like we've talked about that's like we should probably do a full episode on that at some point, because you said there was a girl on Love Island, right? That was like super young but had gotten a lot of work done.
Yes, there was. She when she came, I was fully expecting her to be, I don't know, closer to my age, like upper 20s, maybe 30s, but I'm pretty sure she was only 21. And then without like not trying to sound disrespectful, but there's a look that some people have when you can tell they've gotten lip filler or cheek, like you could you can tell. It goes beyond the grasp of natural.
Yeah.
And yeah, she had gotten a lot of that done, and all of the stuff on social media, all the comments were like, oh, there's the beauty lab and laser special. That's the Utah way. And it was very interesting because while a lot of the people there, like very influencer style, like group, there was a significant difference in how much work she's had done versus others.
Interesting. And she didn't mention affiliation with the church, right? But she's from Utah.
Yeah, she didn't mention the church, but she mentioned Utah.
Okay. Did she go far in the show?
No.
Okay.
No, she was a blip.
Okay.
But that was the sad part, is like there's a lot of blips, like there's a lot of people that come and go. It's just like the structure of the show. If they don't make a connection, they're kind of out.
Yeah.
And for the amount of time that she was on the show, it's probably normal for her, I don't know, to be in TikToks or make her social media rounds for, I don't know, a couple days. But because of her work, she was circulating social media for a couple weeks.
Crazy. Oh, well, I'm so glad that that's our legacy, the legacy of my people. Yay.
Utah special. Well, speaking of legacy, I got the privilege. I'm probably one of the only people in North Carolina to have had the privilege of knowing about Provo's Most Eligible.
Oh my gosh. I really feel like we have let you into our inner circle. Before I sent this to you, I was like, do I want her to know? Do we want to just keep this an inside joke? We should just keep this for us, not let anyone outside know that this is.
That's a really good way to put it, because there is so much that feels like an inside joke that I, like one of my best friends from college, she wanted to get on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City train. So she started from season 1, episode 1. And I'm having to explain so much to her. And it's funny because she has a whole group of friends that are big housewife fans, and even they don't know. Like, they're just watching it for the drama. But I'm like, no. Like, there's this. And
there's so many layers to it.
And I really don't know, because you told me about it, but also just working for the Tribune, like other like people know about Utah things. So this Provo's most eligible popped up in conversation, but I genuinely don't know. Had I had no affiliation with the Tribune, had never met you, I don't think I would have ever heard about it.
Yeah. Oh, like I have to guess you wouldn't. And okay, as a little bit of background, like this show first popped up. I don't know when the first season was. Geez, it was probably like maybe 8 years ago. They did the first season, and it was exactly so. Initially, they called it The Bachelor of Provo. And it was with Remington, the same host, and this guy Colin. So they do the Bachelor of Provo. Midway through the season, they get like a cease and desist from ABC that's like, you cannot call it The Bachelor of Provo. And it was just so funny because they gave this announcement, and they're just kids, they're babies, right? At this point, they're like 20 years old, and they're like, okay, everyone, like we need to change the name of the show. And you could just see like the terror in their eyes. So they changed the name of the show to Provo's Most Eligible, which is like such a mouthful. So they do that season, and it was like, I mean, it was so specifically cringy. Like, it was such a delight to watch. Just like the mashup of these two things, right? The Bachelor, but put in Provo. And that season was much more, everyone went to BYU. It was much more like everyone's members of the church. So it was much more like kind of within the parameters of the church.
Was it the same style, like the like behind the curtain, and it like, or was it? No, it wasn't.
So the first season was like pretty much exactly, I mean, very different from The Bachelor, but same format, right? One guy, I think there were like 15 girls, but I mean, just so cringy. Like at one point they had a talent show. At one point, like there was a girl who like left because her missionary came home or something. Like it was just like pure chaos. And it was hard to watch. Like, I mean, it's always hard to watch The Bachelor. Like, watching people get rejected is not like, I mean, it is like captivating because it's so awful that you're watching it, right? But like, it was that to the extreme because all the people were just so nice and precious. You felt so bad for them. So it was like kind of horrible to watch the final episodes. So they do that season. They did another one a couple years later, which I tragically did not watch. And then this season, so it's been a while. I want to say it's been like 5 or 6 years since they've done anything. And when
the other ones were on YouTube?
Yeah, they were all on YouTube.
Okay.
And then when I started seeing this, like I started seeing them just post on Instagram, and it was like, oh no, like I thought this was over. I thought we were done with this. I thought we moved past it. But so this show, it's like Provo's Most Eligible, I guess, is like what they call like the production company. I use that term loosely. But this new show is called The Altar, right? So It's a new format, as you saw, and I thought it was really actually pretty fun, if quite confusing at times. Like episode 2, I thought was quite confusing. But it's a new format. Clearly they've just like how The Bachelor is kind of losing viewership because of things like Love Island, which is so much more interesting, or Love is Blind, right? Which is so much more interesting. So I think they're kind of like taking elements from all of those shows and kind of updating the format for this. So yeah. What did you so you watched all of it, right? Like what did you think about the cast in general? Like, was there anyone that you were rooting for? Were you like, these kids? Because I felt like it was so obvious they were like super nice, giggly Mormon kids. But yeah, tell me what you thought about the cast.
Yeah. So I found no connection to any of the guys. In fact, I felt like most of the guys were pretty insufferable. And I felt like it felt like a group of pick-me's, honestly. Like,
oh yeah.
Like and it didn't, but the format of the show, I didn't mind, right? Like, I think it's a really cool idea, especially for like young kids getting into production, like trying this, like
totally.
I can't hate the hustle.
Yeah.
I, like you said, like episode 2 because of that game was very confusing. I do wish they would have explained it more, because when people started stealing and scheming and stuff like that, I got confused on how that was possible.
Yeah.
So there's room for improvement there, but that's okay. The structure of the show I didn't mind. Who caught my eye immediately in episode 1, I think her name was Riley. This poor girl was the first one to introduce herself, put herself out there, and strategy wise, the first, isn't probably the way to go, because the guys want to see, and hear more. So, so I didn't think much, like it made me sad, that nobody stood up for her, because I really liked how she introduced herself. I liked, what she had going for her. But then when no one stood for her and she started standing for everybody, I was like, girl, sit down. Like, no, these men don't deserve you. And then it just, like, I think if anyone else from North Carolina or from, that isn't super aware with, because at first in episode 1, I was like, oh, they're actually like not talking about the church much. So this must not be super LDS focused or super like religion based. That's kind of like what I thought. And then when she started talking, when she was asked the question of like, what's the most recent thing you've done for fun? And she's like, well, last night I hosted a witch party. I was like, oh, out of all the things that I don't know that would come out of my mouth in Utah, I just threw a witch party. I don't think I would say that out loud, especially on YouTube. So I was like, oh, okay, that probably wasn't the best way to go.
Riley, I think like the witch party,
I mean, that sounds fun, like I'm sure you had a blast, and I would, love to see pictures of it. But I think those guys heard that and was like, whoa. And then as episode 2 and 3 went on, I was like, okay, this is actually very faith focused.
Yeah.
So
I felt like at first, and I guess we should explain a little bit the format for anyone who hasn't watched it. So they have 20 guys on one side and 20 girls on the other side. They're just sitting in a room, but there's like a divider, a curtain between them. And they ask one person to come up and introduce themselves. They have 30 seconds to introduce themselves. And then anyone interested on the other side without seeing them, right, can stand up. And then they ask questions through the curtain and decide if they want to get to know each other more, which I thought was fun. I thought it was interesting. Well, first, when you heard the witch party thing, were you like, oh, is that a Mormon thing?
No, in fact, I was like, I'm pretty sure they think she's the Antichrist. Like, you probably scared everybody, Riley.
What's funny is it's like when you're at BYU, I feel like there are so many subcultures, like in any college, there are subcultures where people want to express themselves and I don't know, explore fun things and whatever, right? But at BYU, when the subcultures are so limited to what you can do within the bounds of the honor code, I feel like you get things like witch parties. And it reminded me of so many of these things I did. I was in the advertising program at BYU, and it attracted a lot of kind of just creative weird types. And we did lots of weird things like this. And we knew it was weird. We knew it was we weren't taking it seriously, but it's just kind of it felt so specifically BYU to me. And I actually was I bet that was actually so fun. We love a theme, right? We love it kind of reminded me, the Secret Lies episode of the Mormon Bake Off episode.
Mm-hmm.
That felt
so
the same
specific.
way. Yes, it's so specific. We're I don't know, there's a crafty element to it. I don't know. I love Riley so much for doing this, but I was just so, I died inside when she shared about the witch party. Riley does not move on out of episode 1. I thought it was interesting to see what things the guys typically stood for and what things the girls stood up for. It was Dakota, who was a super sales bro with a boat.
Oh.
You notice that he was I'm 6'2", and immediately 5 girls stand.
Yeah.
I was of course he's gonna say that. And one of the girls who stood up was I'm almost 6 feet tall, so I have to stand up for this guy. But I just thought it was interesting. Did you feel like there were any like patterns between what the guys stood up for and what the girls stood up for?
Yeah, I felt like when it came to who the guy stood up for, I felt like it was very based on where they were at in life. Like
Hmm.
it, like when the one girl was talking about, I think she talked about her finances, and
Yeah.
somebody like immediately stood up, and then the girls seemed to stand for more like superficial things.
Hmm.
So it overall it felt like these young people were like so serious and so unserious at the same time. Like you want to be serious because I feel like Utah culture, like by the all of the answers of like, do you think you're ready to get married? Like none of y'all are ready to get married. Like let's be so for real right now. Like you are not ready for marriage. You may think you are, but when it comes to like I felt like there was no emotional maturity.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I felt overall it did feel very superficial, and it led me to have the question, and I would love to know how you would describe it, because something that caught my attention was one of the girls described herself, and I felt like this was a way for her to basically say like, hey, I'm a hot blonde. Is she was like, yeah, I'm a basic Utah girl.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, what is a basic Utah girl? Like, like
It's
what does that
hot
mean?
blonde.
Yeah. So, like,
And I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, it was interesting how she said that because she was the girl with the weird voice. Sorry, not weird voice. She has a very low voice.
that was what she was insecure about.
Yeah. And that actually was interesting to me because I'm like, if they're just hearing her voice, like that actually could affect her chances. So I was curious how much that was strategic on her part to be like, hey, I sound like this, but I'm a basic Utah girl. Like, but I also felt like she said it because she said, I'm a hairstylist. I'm kind of a basic Utah girl. I almost felt like she was like using it apologetically. Like, I'm not that interested. Like, almost like she felt insecure about not being more interesting, I guess.
But like,
And
what would be the difference between, because right, like you'll hear the saying like, oh, you're so basic, right? Or like, oh, that's so basic. So like, what makes a basic Utah girl different than just what basic, right? Like what?
yeah, I mean,
I have my thoughts. Like
yeah.
when I think of like basic Utah girl, I'm like, you have those hair curly things. Um,
Yeah. You have long hair. It's in loose curly waves.
yeah.
You have great skin.
Wear a lot of makeup.
You wear a lot of makeup. You like probably went to college, but you mostly want to get married and have kids.
And you've probably already gotten Botox done, even though you absolutely don't need it.
I don't know. That is one that I mean, I did not know anyone in college who was getting Botox. Maybe that's changed.
That's what I think it has, because even just watching that like botched, the unbotched, or whatever it's called, people were talking about getting Botox at like 18 and
geez.
18, 19, and I got Botox for the first time before my wedding. Like I just wanted to try it, and so I did it, and it felt really weird. So I haven't done it since.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, I'm like, what in the world does a 20-year-old have getting Botox? But I feel like it's more.
Yeah.
It's a more Gen Z thing.
It is. I think it's so. I guess I'm just like, I don't think any of the girls. So there were only a couple girls who looked like they were like in the pipeline to looking like a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives girls, right? Like I can only think of two. I'm blanking on her name, the hair school girl, and Jordan. And they were the only two that looked like, I feel like conventionally really beautiful, more makeup, long hair with those like loose curls. But I don't know. The rest of them, I would be surprised. I would love to know if you're taking stats from Gen Z, if Gen Z in general is getting more plastic surgery than millennials were. I would be so curious to hear if that's happening more in Utah versus outside. Like, I felt like my exposure to plastic surgery growing up was like everyone got their boobs done after they have 5 kids because you had 5 kids and you wanted to feel like yourself in some way from before you had kids. But it wasn't really like face and filler stuff. And again, maybe it's changed. But I would be really curious about that. I did think it was interesting how like after the curtain came down and they could see the girls like so in the second round they find, what is it, like 7 couples from the first round, people who answer questions back and forth and like become a couple, and then those get to move on to the second round where they're sitting across like this, you know, fake dinner table with a ring box on top. And when the ring box is open, then you can talk and answer questions. And then if one of you is done, you shut the ring box and then you like say that you want someone else to come up. And I thought it was interesting how some of those the couples, like specifically, was it Sam, the guy who was like really smiley and kind of like jumpy? Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about that face.
Is that the guy that loved sex before marriage?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know, because some of the people, I kind of got the feeling that they were there in hopes of their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Who did you feel like that with?
Him. Like right off the bat, I felt it with him. I felt it with that couple that was like all in there, like, we're getting married. I'm like, relax.
That was weird.
Yeah, it felt very forced. But now how you said, like, they are kind of combining all of these different elements from different shows, like Love is Blind, Married at First Sight,
yeah,
you know, all of these different things. I feel like it has the potential to be really good, but they need to focus it in a little bit more, because it did make me sad. Like, going back to the girl who was insecure about her voice, I wouldn't have even thought twice about her voice had she not said that. But I thought, like, yeah, her voice is lower than what I guess you would consider the average voice. But, like, never would I ever hear that and be like, oh, I assume this girl is unattractive. Totally. Or, like, you know, like, never would I think that. But I thought it was so interesting how that was the first thing that the guy commented on, is he was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have, because, like, her voice is lower than and I'm like, what? Like, that, is that really something that we're dissecting and using in terms of, like, getting to know? Like, it felt very, like, I couldn't believe that is what you were commenting on. And but even, like, going back, like, these girls knew nothing about this guy other than he's 6'2" and has a boat, and they're like, oh, we're in. Like, you could literally have not a good person, you know?
Yeah. But that's, like, it goes back to why it's so dumb, because the constraints of the show, like, at least Love is Blind, like, they spend enough time through the barrier where they can actually, like, get to know each other. And I was curious, what has been your understanding of, if anything, of, like, dating culture in Provo?
Honestly, it's really freaking weird. Like, by the end of it, I was just really confused, because, you know, as somebody, and my wife and I have these conversations a lot, like, we consider ourselves, like, very spiritual people, but we do not follow, like, an organized religion.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have never really been with somebody who follows an organized religion. Like, I've, you know, I have dated people in the past who have, you know, considered themselves Christian. But it wasn't like a moving part of their everyday life to where it affected how things, you know, progressed. Whereas I feel like it was very interesting to me. So in the last episode, when they have these, like, pre-answered questions and they compare their answers to one another to see who's the most compatible, I thought it was very interesting how uncompatible these people truly are, because I do think in today's society, like, dating's different, right? Like my parents and my wife's parents, they say all the time, like, they never talked about politics and religion growing up while dating. Like, I am dealing with my in-laws right now who she is absolutely appalled learning about her husband's political beliefs, and like, she's really having a hard time with that. But I'm thinking to myself, how did you not talk about this before marriage? Like, before I got married, there's a few key things, and I feel like finances, religion, politics, like, these are all things that you should talk about and be on the same page. And I get it wasn't always like that. You don't talk politics or religion at the dinner table, or you don't, talk it in dating, but we don't really live in that climate anymore.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be aligned on at least some certain core things, in my opinion. And I felt like dating culture in Provo, if that last episode showed me anything, is it seems like they're really more committed to being married than finding a compatible partner. Like, they were, there was one example, and I don't know which couple it was, but the question was, do you think that the wife should be the homemaker?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was like, no, I don't. And he was like, yes, I do. That would have been it right there. I would have been like, okay, like, that is a fundamental difference. Like, if I don't believe that, I'm not going to force myself to believe that for you. I just met you. And then at the end, when they're talking to him, she's like, yeah, we'll go out on a date after this. I'm sure I'll see him later. And I'm like, you are so uncompatible. Like,
yeah, it's because, like, the amount of pressure there is.
That's sad, though. That is
really
really sad.
It's sad. Like, you hear it from infancy. Like, you learn about the temple, and immediately connected to the temple is being sealed in the temple, eternal marriage, right? With your eternal companion. And like, it's something that was really hard for me at BYU. Because it's something that is like, I do think that if you have shared values, whatever it is, like, I think that shared values will help you in a relationship, right? Obviously. And I think that the kind of the teachings or the beliefs in the church is that a shared belief in God creates a really strong foundation where it creates a strong partnership, right? Which I think is true, as it would be in any other, if you, right, had shared values or not. But like, I think that something is hard. It is so, it's just kind of ubiquitous. Like, you hear it all the time. Temple marriage, find someone who's worthy to go to the temple, right? And like, so many people, I wonder if it will change in future generations, because for me, it was like almost all of my friends' parents, it was like they met and got married at BYU. That was just like how you met your person. And it was kind of like this expectation. Like, I have talked to friends recently who were married at BYU, and it's like hit me. I cannot imagine what my academic experience in school, how it would have changed if I had been married, because the amount of attention that was drawn away from my schoolwork to just feeling so stressed about dating. And I'm glad it wasn't the right path for me. And I think there was like a time in my life where, there's also like some snootiness about it, though. Like, you're like, I'm not going to be one of those people who just gets married when I'm 19 or whatever, And I think for a while I was like, there's no way a marriage that young can work. But like, some of them do. Some of them do, some of them don't. And the difference is people who probably actually got to know each other and like made a commitment and stuck it out, as with any marriage, right?
Right.
But like, I think there is this, and I felt like I saw it on their faces in the initial interviews when they asked people about dating in BYU. All of them were just like, oh, it's tough, And like, it definitely is this feeling of there always might be someone better around the corner, because it really is. It's like, 30,000 super impressive people, all your same age, who in theory share your beliefs, want what you want. Like, it's kind of like paradox of choice. Is that like, there's too many options, right?
Is in Utah, like, I know BYU is like a good school in general, but like, academically, is it hard to get into?
It's really hard to get into, and it's gotten worse. Like, and it's especially if you're from Utah, it's even harder to get into because they've kind of wanted to make it
out of state.
Yeah,
People.
they want
Yeah.
people who haven't grown up around members to come. And something that I've been glad to see, again, this is completely anecdotal, but like when I was at BYU, UVU, it was a state college, I think, at that point. And like people would call it like UVHS. Like it was kind of a joke and it was like not a great school. It has become a really good school and like a totally valid option. And so I think that's kind of nice that a lot of people who don't get into BYU or just don't want to go to BYU go to UVU, and it's a great school. So I think that has been something I've been really happy to see, like for my nieces and nephews who are that age. But I do think there still is like just the amount of pressure around dating. And like, it was so weird. I mean, I hated dating at BYU, and then I moved to LA, and like, it was just so much better for me. Like, it felt like it was so much less pressure. It felt grown up, right? Like some of the stuff you're doing, and you tend to do these like infantilizing activities in your wards where like, and again, this is like something I'm letting you in on our inner circle. Okay. So don't,
I love it.
But like there was, like before Tinder existed, we had a thing in one of my wards where it was like, you could submit names that you were interested in, and guys could submit names that they were interested in. And if you both matched, then like someone in the ward, like it was their calling. It was their like church assignment to like say, hey, you guys matched. You should go on a date. So like we're way ahead of things when it comes to dating. No, I like the amount of pressure I felt for these kids because pressure makes you do crazy things. I look back at like guys that I dated and I was like, well, it could work. Like maybe it could work. And then like when I met my husband, it was like, this is not like, oh, all the things on paper are perfectly exactly. Obviously, we're aligned on important things, but like, I just want to marry him.
Right.
And I'm not like talking myself into it. Like, I'm not forcing it. You just are trying so hard because you want this thing. And I think it will shift. I hope it will shift. Like I've heard, in recent general conference talks, like, there was one where I think 3 talks in one session mentioned this stat that like there are now more widowed, divorced, or single members of the church than there are married members of the church. So I think they're finally like, that is a shift that I just think we have to make, because getting married in the temple is great, but I don't think it's in people's control fully, right? I have had enough friends. I've watched so many friends they date guys who are in the church. It doesn't work. They meet someone who's not in the church. He's amazing. Marry that person, right? Sorry. I don't want to be speaking blasphemy, but like,
well, it matters, right? Like it, like the love aspect, I think, is what people forget is like the fact, like love is the foundation of marriage, right? Like, like I strongly believe that I know some people that are very like, insert person here. Like they have what they want in life, but they don't care really. Like they care more about the end result versus the path that it takes to get there. So they could be okay with whatever, insert person here. Like I want a husband, I want kids, like versus the other way where it's like, okay, I want to get married, but I'm not going to get married to someone that I'm not in love with.
Yeah.
And I think that was just kind of interesting watching it, because I mean, in college, like 18, 19, 20-year-old me, I mean, if you would have asked me about marriage back then, I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll probably never get married. Like that's wild. Like what? Like that's a wild concept. And like, dating is just so chaotic and wild, and like it is what it is, and you talk to some people that like I don't know, I can't. It took me a very long time to get to the point where I would look at someone and be like, okay, well, I know for sure like I'm not going to marry you, so like I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like that's not dating in Provo.
Yeah. I mean, when marriage is a commandment, you try harder.
Right. Yeah. And
for better or worse.
Yeah. And I don't know, like you said, I feel like with the temple stuff being out of some people's control, because I do feel like some people are just dealt a luckier hand in life, and
Completely.
they're better circumstances.
Yep.
And that's not, I think it's still completely valid to like want these things, but in a healthy and safe way.
Yeah. And like what's interesting is even after you get married, the person you marry is going to continually be making choices the rest of their life. So it's like, say the person you get married to, I don't know, I guess I'm just saying like to look at someone and say like, okay, they have these qualities, which like I definitely did. I did not fully, like, I got married, let's see, I think it was 10 months from the time we started dating to when we got married, which I was like, that is like a good long time. I'm very old. I'm 26. I'm so mature. I've dated all these people. You know.
Wait, what?
Yeah. But like compared to, I was the last one of all my friends from home to get married, all of them. Like, and I've been the last one of all of them to have kids. Like and I think like, again, I think there was a point where I was kind of snotty about like, oh, you guys got married young, you don't know. But like, also they were becoming moms at age 21. And like, that is really hard. And
Yeah.
I look back at people who did that and who successfully, like my brother who made it through dental school with, I want to say 3 kids, and like
Good for him.
that, made it through dental school, has a thriving career, has an amazing family. I'm like, what can I say to knock that? Right. Like, it's,
Right.
So, okay, wait, I wanted to ask you a question about, have you seen Materialists?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
feel like I've recently heard of that,
Yeah,
but I don't.
It's Dakota Johnson is a matchmaker, and it's like a love triangle between Pedro Pascal, who is like her perfect match on paper, and Chris Evans, who is like her love from growing up. Anyway, it's just way interesting.
Is this a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
I have not seen. Is it with Elizabeth Olsen?
No, but that one also. We're gonna have to do an episode on that one.
Okay, because I did just see the trailer for that. Sorry, that sounded the same.
Love triangle with 3 hot people. Yeah.
I did see the trailer for that, but no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. It's just interesting because like the movie kind of, it is kind of the debate between like, is it the person on paper or is it this person you just love, right? And she says over and over, like, no statistics show that like similar family, similar political beliefs and upbringing, like those are the things that make people compatible. And I think that like it kind of becomes confounding in Provo because in theory all of the people have those things,
Right?
But they actually don't, right? Like there's a lot more. There is a whole spectrum of LDS families, right? And there's a whole spectrum of like commitment to the church. So I don't know. I think I hope that like all of those people can like just, I look back at those years and wish so badly that I would not have like stressed myself into a panic, you know, and just like lived with faith. Like we are part of a religion that's supposed to be about faith, right? Like
what's meant to happen is going to happen. Like
yes.
that's God's plan.
And it's like but I also just completely empathize with how hard it is to date in Provo. Yeah, you asked a question about a NCMO.
Yeah, listen, when they started talking about non-committed makeouts and they use this term NCMO, I'm like, does Utah not have makeout whores? Like, do people not just like go and make out? Like, why do we?
Oh yeah, they do.
That's what I thought, because I mean, you can't do anything else.
So you guys call it, but that was a thing, a makeout whore.
Yeah, like if someone goes out and like they'll just kiss whoever, like I'd be like, oh yeah, like I was a makeout whore in college, like that, you know, like I'm not gonna sleep with you, but like sure, I'll kiss you, like you know.
Yeah, a NCMO. It's often like, okay, I'll tell you a few.
So that is a thing.
Oh yeah, that's like everyone knows what a NCMO is, and I think a lot of that is happening, especially more now that like Tinder and now that the apps are there. I think a lot of people are like, I'm just, you know, on here to hook up.
Is that something that like someone would put in their bio, like down for NCMO?
Maybe, I don't know. I got married like right as the apps were coming out, and I got out by the skin of my teeth.
Lucky you.
Seriously. But like, it's something that someone would probably like say in a message, in their first message, right? Like maybe they wouldn't put it on their profile, but that's definitely going to happen. What's another one that is going to make you so cringe? Okay.
Wait, instead of DTF, is it like DT NCMO?
It's not, but it's the same idea. Okay, virgin lips. This is the thing that we would say like in
Nice.
like it's okay. If you were virgin lips, that meant you'd never kissed anyone. Virgin lips, VL. I'm still
Okay.
VL. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then filling your canteen. Is this a thing that you've heard?
With water?
No. Okay. With makeouts. This is a thing that freshman boys at BYU would do before going on their mission because they're going to have nothing on their missions. So if a guy is like having lots of NCMOs freshman year at BYU, he's filling his canteen. Okay, and that might not be happening anymore. They changed the rules so that missionaries used to go when they were 19. Now they go when they're 18. And I wondered why. Maybe it's so they can't fill their canteens anymore. I wonder.
Well, you know what? With all of these slangs, I mean, for them to even ask about derfing and soaking, I'm like, y'all are never gonna get away from this.
Or never. And I thought it was interesting. Who was it? Oh, it was Jensen who like had to read it, and he was like, I'm sorry, Mom. Like, you could tell he was like, I do not want to be talking about this. I really related to him in that moment. Like
just say the word.
Yeah,
very cringe.
I started Mormons in media to like talk about media representation of my people. And here I am just talking about soaking and swinging and all these things that I do not want to talk about. Like, and again, I felt like some of the questions, I thought some of them were like interestingly, not provocative, but like, thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I was glad that they weren't like super like softball pitches, but that one I was like, okay, guys, they're going for, and by the reaction of the people there, you saw them all like do this, like no one is doing this. I will die on this hill. No one is doing this. But yeah, we'll never escape it. It's just who we are now. It's sad.
Well, I will say from last episode, for how dark it was having to recap the reunion, it has been a breath of fresh air this episode to talk about something with essentially zero darkness. There's
zero darkness.
There's nothing but light. I don't think that any of them lost a wink of sleep. I don't think a tear was shed.
Nope.
And I won't give a spoiler alert, but the ending of the show, how it ended, I thought was hilarious. I was like,
hilarious.
This is like just funny. Like
it was so funny. It was so funny. I genuinely think people should watch this show. It's 3 episodes. They're all like under an hour, I want to say. It is so funny. And like, was it clear to you that they're in on the joke? Like that Remington is in on the joke?
Yes, I think so. But I was a little confused at his personality at first. Maybe if I had seen like the previous seasons, then I would have. But when he was like, okay, get out, I was like, oh my gosh, is he being like, he's so serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but by the end of it, I kind of got his personality.
Yeah. No, I love him. I saw a reel they did where it was like, what's your biggest red flag? And he's like, the fact that I'm giving my time to do this for free. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
He's funny.
Yeah. No, I love this show. I think they're doing more episodes. I haven't really heard, but my theory, someone told me, maybe it was Meg, told me that she thinks they're going to do more episodes like in this format. And okay. I think she interviewed him and he said they had 1,500 people apply. So like people are like hungry to do this for whatever reason, even if it is just like, for exposure so they can meet more people. And I'm so curious to see what happens with it.
One last question for you.
Yes.
If your kid got of age and came to you and said, I would love to do this, would we be down for it? Or would we encourage it? Or would we be like, no, sweetie, no, you don't?
I mean, my personality is to be like, do not let them capture footage of you ever. Like, do not let yourself be embarrassed by something you're going to say. And yet here I am making podcasts saying probably the wrong thing.
Surfing and soaking.
Yes. Yeah. So, no, I mean, I guess I think I would be for it because at this point, like, it's different for these kids than it was when we were, right? Like,
Right.
they are chronically online. They're online. It's gonna, like, I think dating for them is going to look different than it is for us. And I think if it's something fun, then yes. If it's because they are, like, depressed and desperate, I will say, no. You focus on yourself. You are a whole person. You do not need to go on a dating show to make you happy. But we'll see. I've got some time, thankfully, to think about this question.
Well, we'll see if it makes it to season 13.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I hope so. Okay, well, this was so fun. I think, have you heard when Secret Lies is starting again?
I haven't, but I'm also not actively searching for that release date.
I know. I think I heard September, but that is next month. Please let it not be next month. I just want like a little break. I want a little break. But in the meantime, yes, this was so fun. I feel like that Elizabeth Olsen movie would be really fun to talk about because that is like it's not LDS related overtly, but like it deals with some parts of LDS doctrine that I think will be triggering for lots of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, let's talk about that next time because
that'll be a little teaser when that comes out. We can watch
Sweet.
it. Actually it looks like really funny. Often when people send me stuff, I'm like, oh no, but it looks like a fun time. So
yeah, when I saw the trailer, I thought the same thing. I was like, I really appreciate things that haven't been done before or like a new take on things.
Yes.
And I feel like, sometimes with movies, you're like, okay, here's another scary movie or, oh, here's this. Yeah. But when I watched that trailer, I was like, I don't have anything to compare this to. I'm actually really excited for this.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's called Eternity. It's Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, and Miles Teller. And essentially it's about she had two husbands in life, and it's after she dies, she has to pick which one of them she wants to be with for eternity. So buckle up. That will be fun.
Sweet. Well, this was fun.
This was so much fun. I hope you survive in your non-air conditioned house. We're praying for you.
Thank you so much. I have sweat dripping.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you next month.
See you then.